Hey everyone, let's continue with the details of my Gepard cosplay. Today we will have a look at the neck and the back piece. This build has a lot of cool details, but also some serious repetitive work. So let's get started. I used high density EVA foam for this build, but it's not really necessary. I mainly use this because some of the parts are located under the cape and I want them to be more durable. Just remember that cutting it might be a bit harder, especially on the 10mm parts, so I hope you've been working out. As usual, you can find the template in the description of this video. I started by cutting out one half of the template in 10mm EVA foam, but later I decided I wanted the build to be a bit layered, so I adjusted my base piece to be only the bottom layer. Later we will be making a second layer, which will be connecting the bottom parts. Now let's continue by making some details into the base pieces. Remember I told you it would be repetitive? Well, this will be the first round. Making about 40 V-shaped cuts total into the foam. With a Dremel you can also smoothen some of your cuts if they didn't turn out that nice. Alternatively, you could just paint them on, but as you might know already, I'm not a fan of painting. Plus cutting them out just looks way nicer. Now let's move on to the middle piece. I made this out of 5mm EVA foam. You can just trace the pattern twice, once mirrored, and cut it out as a whole. Don't forget to cut out the hole in the middle as well. Clean it up with a Dremel afterwards and then we can glue the pieces together. To glue it on perfectly, mark the area you are going to glue first. After gluing, I noticed I needed some reinforcements, so I added some leftover foam scrap to the back. Problem solved. Next up are the circles. You could add another layer of foam or like I did, heat it up and deform it using a round tool. I tried to collect all kind of circle shapes which I can use for this, mostly lids. When deforming it, make sure to put some foam underneath, otherwise you will deform the whole middle section. On these circles there are some small details which I made out of 2mm EVA foam. I cut them out using my crafting knife, but using a tiny pair of scissors would probably work better. Then there are some more tiny details, which I made out of 5mm EVA foam. Since I wanted to Dremel some shape into them, 2mm would not be enough. Alright, buckle up for the second round of repetitive work. We will have to make this piece 5 times in total. 3 times for the back piece, but also 2 times for the front piece, which we will get to in a minute. It's not that hard, but making them look similar is a challenge. It's basically just a lot of dremeling. Once you are done dremeling, you can glue it together and then glue them onto the back piece. Here I also added some extra reinforcements onto the back. To finish this foam build, I added a small ellipse in the middle. Next up is the front piece. Since this is not that visible, I decided to simplify this build a little bit. The template is correct though, so if you would like to make it really detailed, just follow the template by adding some extra foam layer details. The template for this build is the front view, so make sure you use it as a reference and not to cut out the actual pieces. Start with the base, just make one side, mirror it and glue it together. After that, add another layer to the back of this piece. Now remember those things we made earlier, here's where we need to glue them onto the base. Once you glued them on, we're done with this foam build as well. Now we just need to glue on the velcro, with which we can attach the parts to the suit later. I just glued velcro all over the piece, because I didn't really know where Lucy was going to sew the velcro on the suit. And the last step is painting it. First cover your piece in a few layers of primer. I used Flex Bond this time because the pieces will be moving around a bit. Add a few layers of gold and to create some shadows you can use some thinned down black paint. Optionally, you can also add even more details to it. This is something you will have to decide for yourself. I was kinda lazy though, so I used a permanent marker to create some more detailed lines onto the pieces. Alternatively, you could make these pieces out of 2mm EVA foam and glue them on. This would probably look much nicer, but that's an upgrade I might do later. For now, this will have to do. And last, don't forget to paint this part white. Now let's attach them to the suit. Next time I'll be working on the other gold details of the suit, and then it will almost be finished. I hope you liked this video and don't forget to subscribe if you did, so you won't miss the next build. See you in the next one.